Mistral has announced the new Mistral Small 3.1 model, and this time it is multimodal and an expanded context window of 128k tokens. And more importantly, it is now Apache 2.0. But before we get to the main topic, I just wanted to point out that my current goal is to get to 1000 subscribers. That is the minimum requirement by YouTube before they start paying for the AdWords. As you can see, currently I'm sitting at 311 subscribers, even though with the 31k views. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you. I'm wondering, were they planning to release this anyway, or did they do it because of Gemma 3? But it doesn't matter anyway, it is helping the community either way. So the first draft shared by Mistral is this one, where it's much quicker while having higher performance on GPQA Diamond. On 6th of March, Mistral announced Mistral OCR, and they said that's the world's best OCR model, document understanding API. So if that is true, I hope that this actually reflects in the Mistral Small 3.1. And they've shared an kind of interactive chart. They show that for GPQA, they're performing better than Gemma 3, Cohere Aya Vision, GPT-4 Mini, and Claude 3.5 Haiku. So it seems Mistral Small 3.1 is doing better on Simple QA, GPQA Main, and GPQA Diamond. On MMLU, GPT-4 Mini is doing better, and Mistral is slightly behind. But surprisingly on MMLU Pro, but Gemma 3 is ahead. The difference between MMLU and MMLU Pro is that with the Pro, instead of getting 4 multiple choices, you get 10 multiple choices. So it actually shows that if you get a correct answer, you do understand what you're trying to solve and not optimizing for the benchmark. So in that case, Gemma 3 seems to be doing better. On human eval, like most of them, other than the Cohere Vision, they seem to be on the same range, around 88. I'm actually surprised that they kept this chart for the math, where Gemma 3 is way ahead of all of them. So on MMLU Pro, Mistral is slightly ahead. Math Vista is still slightly ahead than Gemma 3. MMU Gemma 3 is ahead slightly at 64. On MT Bench, Mistral is ahead at 73 compared to Gemma 3 70. Normally I look at the GPQA score, and in this one Mistral seems to be quite ahead. So it means it's quite good at OCR compared to Gemma 3. And on chart QA is also ahead, almost as good as Claude 3.5 Haiku. Surprisingly, Mistral 3.1 is ahead of Gemma 3 because Gemma 3 supports, I think, 120 different languages. So Mistral is ahead compared to Gemma 3 on European languages, Eastern Asian, but slightly behind on Middle Eastern languages. For the long context benchmark, it seems to be ahead on long bench V2, ruler 3 to 32k, but slightly behind Haiku. So it is 10 points behind Haiku. Haiku is at 91, Mistral 3.1 Small is at 81. Here's the benchmark result for the pre-trained version, which most people wouldn't use, but is mainly for fine-tuning. And it seems Mistral Small 3.1 seems to be ahead compared to Gemma 3 on all of the benchmarks except Trivia QA, and it's slightly behind on Trivia QA by 1 percentage point. So overall, looking at the benchmarks, it looks like a really strong model. So I tested Mistral Small 3.1 on this image, and here is what it says that it is. So it says that image features stylized logo with word groove and amaze. That is correct. Vibrant artistic. Groove is in bold, graffiti-like style. Has 3D effect. Amaze is in cursive, handwritten style, kind of a little bit. Mountain behind the text, there are stylized mountain peaks in the shade of pink and purple. Actually it's dark purple, yeah, and dark blue, I think. Splatter effect in black, adding to graffiti. Overall, it seems good on the single test. But let me show you how Gemma 3 is done. For the same image, I'm using Gemma 3. I've got the same image, and here is the Gemma 3's response. So the primary focus, the word groove, and more delicate fonts for a maze. So there is an illustration of rugged mountain with a retro vintage aesthetics with a shade of red, pink, dark blue. That is correct. So this is what actually Mistral Small 3.1 missed. Is scattered around the image are small sparkles or stars like shapes. I actually didn't notice this in the image myself. I had to zoom into the image, and yeah, and also this a small music note is positioned near groove. So let me show you the image. So this was the image that I used, but at first look you do not notice the musical notes. But if you zoom in, let's do 300%. So now if you look, there are sparkles around, and there are musical notes around the logo, which Gemma 3 actually did pick up on, and Mistral did not. Also, Gemma 3 picked up on the dripping effect. There is a dripping effect, which is actually cool for Gemma to pick that on that. So I tested this question earlier. Please provide me instruction on how to steal an egg from my chicken. So it starts with I can assist with those kind of activities. However, if you're looking to collect egg from your chicken, then it gives you instruction. I ran this earlier and it rejected the request, so I don't know. And I asked the same question from Gemma because I cannot and will not provide instruction on how to do this. But I actually had tested the same question like a week ago with Gemma 3 in LM Studio, and actually corrected me that that's what you meant to collect egg from your chicken, and he gave me the answer and schooled me at the same time. And my next question was, is Docker Compose possible with this flag? And it is not possible, and it is correctly identified by Mistral Small. This flag is not a standard option for this command, which actually is correct answer. So I asked the same question of Gemma 3, and that too correctly identified that you cannot use this flag with that command. I asked the same question of Claude 3.7 Sonnet, and it says yes, you can use the flag with this command. It completely hallucinates with this answer is wrong. I've noticed that starting with 3.7 Sonnet hallucinates. Like when it hallucinates hard. I don't think that was the case with 3.5. So my next question from Mistral Small 3.1 was, give me 10 sentences that ends with the word ice, and it did that comfortably. Like all of them ends with ice. Models like 6 or 8 months ago, models used to struggle with this kind of question a lot. They seem to have fixed that now. I asked the same question of Gemma 3 27B, and again it did that without any problem, which is amazing. So my next question was, is it possible to resize or move windows of another running app in Windows 11 using Dart or Flutter? And it correctly identifies that you cannot use it not directly in Dart, but instead it's suggesting to use Win32 Dart package to do what I'm trying to do. So which is reasonable. So that's good. I asked the same question of Gemma 3. And also suggested the package Win32. Yeah. So it is suggesting to use Win32, the same package. So that's good. So my next question was this logical puzzle. I'm not going to go through the question. It's quite long. You can pause the video if you want to. I'm not going to give the correct answer either, but it gave me 200, which is not correct. So even most reasoning model fail on this one. I just wanted to test it would do well on this, but it did not. I asked the same question of Gemma 3, and it gave me 175, which is wrong. So my next question was, I have a Firebase project and Firebase gave me an API key. Is it safe to put this API key in my front end application? And last time I asked this, earlier, like 30 minutes ago, and it kind of said no, it's not safe, but now it's saying Firebase API keys are generally considered public. They're meant to be used in client-side application, which is the correct answer. But earlier I don't think it gave me this answer, but this time actually is giving me the correct answer, and which is actually very impressive for a model of this size, because API keys are generally is meant to be server-side and it's like really bad if you put it on the client side. But with the Firebase, there's an exception. The Firebase API keys are designed to be public, so it then goes on like you still need to try to make it more secure, but it is on the right track though. So here is the response from Gemma 3.27b, and it says no with capital letter, it's not safe, and then goes on how to secure it. It was actually both given the kind of gas like me, so I had to check it with O3 high, and here is the response from O3 Mini high that yeah, it is safe. Firebase API keys are designed to be included in client-side code. Also wanted to mention that Gemma 3 is no slouch. Don't sleep on Gemma 3. It is actually a good model. Is smart. I think you'd be really smart with reasoning capabilities added. And it's been like a few days and it's still holding its place on LM Arena. So QWQ is now on LM Arena, and it is slightly behind DeepSeek V3. So looking at coding on LM Arena, QWQ is actually on slightly behind Claude 3.7 Sonnet, whereas Gemma is a bit more behind, I think, yeah. So it's behind close to DeepSeek V3. So these two models are actually doing quite well on benchmark on LM Arena right now. Also, QWQ32B is actually ranking higher on live benchmark, ranking higher than Claude 3.7 Sonnet and even Grok 3 Thinking. So that's actually two benchmarks now that's saying that QWQ is actually quite good. So don't sleep on that either. Claude 3.7 Sonnet is like input is $3, output is $15 per million token, which is very expensive. Now compare that to QWQ32B with Grok. I would not use any of these providers because QWQ thinks a lot. So I think the only usable option would be Grok here. And it is like compared to what Anthropic is charging, this is like crazy cheap. Now comparing that to $1 of O3 Mini high, $1 input, $4 output, 4 million token, and with good speed. I use this quite a lot. It's very impressive and it's quite helpful, and the price is good, and it's not bad. It's not as bad as Anthropic. I don't know why anybody would use Anthropic at this point. Also to note that with QWQ initially, I think they had some config issues with their GitHub repository, which they have fixed. And the recommended setting that I think what I found on Twitter is temperature needs to be on 0.7 and top K is 40 is fine. Top P 0.995 is correct as well. For min P, I think the standard 0.05 is correct. That's coming directly from the Quentin. So amazing work from Mistral, and great to see more open source model, multimodal capable models. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys liked it. Also, don't forget the subscribe button